We're going to call our meeting to order. We're going to ask Alderman Wicker as he will present our two students that's going to present the Pledge of Allegiance for us tonight.
All right. So Miss Bailey and is it Cadence? Have y'all come on up? Did I say that right? Everybody stand up, please. Come right up here. We're not gonna bite you. Come on up.
Better than this one.
Y'all ready?
Face us. Y'all ready?
Get it.
Put your hand up.
Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, don't go nowhere. We got something for you to take home. Okay? Got a city pen for you to be able to take home. You remember that you did that, okay?
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thanks, girls.
Thank you, girls. Thank you.
We're going to ask Alderman Piper if he will do our invocation, and also we want everyone here to keep the mayor and his family lifted up in prayer during this period also. Alderman Piper.
Let us pray. Dearest Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day that you created for us, a day that'll just be like it. This one day in history that'll be nothing like any other. God, we ask you would be with those who have lost loved ones today. Give them strength and comfort during this sad time of grief. Lord, we ask that you would guide our decision making during our meeting to do what's most honoring to you, and that your will would be done. We thank you for the men and women fighting for our freedom here and across this world. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Alderman Piper. Actually, we're going to entertain a motion to approve our agenda with the additions.
Alderman Miller, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the additions made here listed in a highlight.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Approval of docket of claim 58052 to 58354. Can we get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Can we get approval now for the minutes of our regular board and mayor meeting on September 19, 2023?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Could we have a motion to approve our consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Could we get a motion on our personnel document?
I'll make a motion to approve the personnel docket presented to us.
Second.
Got a motion and a proper second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Could we have a motion to approve our donation docket?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Been properly moved and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Item number 10, approval to increase the court and utility department cash drawer to $200 each.
What is it currently now?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion, can we get a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Item 11, authorized to forgive all permitting fees associated with the new YMCA, which was postponed from our tabled from our last meeting on September the 19th of 23.
Are you satisfied, Mr. Pittman?
I'm satisfied that there's no legal hurdle to pass on this. It's appropriate to do this the way it's proposed. And I would like to note that statements made by the Maddox Foundation at the last meeting included the agreement that the city will keep all the insurance proceeds payable for the damages that were done, and then the Maddox Foundation will, in exchange, do all the work at Renaissance Park, the cleanup and repairs, as I understand it. So
Conger.
Concord Park, I'm sorry, Concord Park. So I see no problem with that part.
Anyone have any questions in there? Can we get a motion to include our attorney remarks to be included into the record?
Alderman Miller, I'll make a motion to approve or authorize to approve the forgiveness of permitting fees associated with the new YMCA in the city of Hernando in compliance with our attorney's comments there. He's satisfied and meets the legal requirements.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Approve the letter of intent for bond.
Good evening.
Hello.
Elizabeth Clark with Butler Snow, Nick Shore with Government Consultants. And we actually have we've been in conversations with the mayor regarding your parks and recreation projects that you're interested in doing. We have 2 resolutions in front of you that are in connection with those park projects. The first one is an engagement resolution that hires the professionals that are necessary to prepare and sell the potential general obligation bonds that you would issue in connection with these park projects. And then the second resolution is the intent resolution. We have included in this resolution a not to exceed $8 million general obligation bonds to be issued by the city. My understanding is that it will probably be less than that, but at this time, you're still trying to consider with construction costs increasing and things of that nature exactly what it'll be. For intent purposes, you can issue up to $8 million, but if you can't issue more. So since we're kind of on the fence of whether it's going to be 6.75 or 7 million or 7.2, we put 8 million in there so that you can issue up to the 8 million, or we can issue less once we kind of finalize and nail down those projects and the construction cost. The intent resolution is the first step in the process, and it has to be published. We have in there the November 7th meeting as the date for any written protest to be filed if there are any in connection with this bond issue. I'm happy to answer any questions. Your engagement resolution hires Butler Snow as bond counsel, Government Consultants as your municipal advisor, Raymond James, who will either serve as placement agent or underwriter. They'll be the ones that will be marketing your bonds to potential investors, and then your attorney as well. So I'm happy to answer any questions. There are 2 resolutions up for consideration.
Could you just share with the board and the audience, just based upon historical data and everything else, in your opinion, what kind of timeline that we'll be looking at?
From start to finish?
From start to finish, and also when the payments will be due and things like that, okay?
Yeah, so from the start of this process until it typically takes about 3 months, we put a preliminary timeline together that would show the quickest route, assuming no protests are filed on or before that November 7th date. So we're looking at mid-December of getting funds and for the city to be able to begin those parks and recreational projects. As far as any payment terms and things like that, I'll let the municipal advisor walk through that.
Yeah, sure. That's the biggest question, right? How much, what can we afford and what revenue sources we have, right? I think we're going to spend some time digging down into that a little bit. We have the not to exceed amount set for $8 million, but for me, it kind of lives a little bit more on what revenue sources we have available, right? And it's going to be property tax. Property taxes collect generally in March. Biggest amount of property tax comes around that time frame. The way that we looking at how we're going to go through this sale process, we're going to be able to time the payments around that, right? And so if the city let's take, this process it's a long-winded piece. We got to do the advertisements, we got to do those other things. This gets the kind of the publication pieces, a few things out of the way, and then unless the city just look at what you guys want to do. Bid out the construction for the park projects, a few other items, and then we review the financing kind of at that point and kind of pick it up, whether that's in 2 months or if that's in 3 months or 6 months. That decision is made, obviously, by the board, right? And so generally, payments would begin roughly about a 12-month period after whenever that is. But we're more than likely going to maneuver that around property tax collection cycles, right? So it'd be sometime after the March, around March or a little bit later in the fiscal year. We're going to circle everything that we can to the best of our ability to make sure that it fits every need that the city has from a financial standpoint.
And does the city have debt rolling off that you're going to try and tie?
Yeah, there is. The city has some current debt that is outstanding as well, right? And so we take that into consideration. We don't just want to just go out and borrow a bunch of money and not have a plan behind it. And so we've spoken to the city clerk and Mr. Eddy and everybody. We're going to spend a lot more time going through that, and the mayor, and to make sure that we have a really good plan. We time the payments. We fit it around what other opportunities and other needs the city has at the same time. Yeah.
And following, once you get past the no protest period, you have 2 years from November 7th to actually issue the bonds. So you could issue, a first series of $5 million and then a second series of the remaining, depending on your project timing and things like that. So, since we're in the beginning stages, we want to get past that no protest period first, and then kind of nail down the specifics of the amount, work with the city clerk and the financial advisor of the city to make sure that we have the payments in line. But typically, it's a year from closing date when you have your first principal or interest payment due. Did that answer your question? Okay.
It's a convoluted answer, I'm sure, but.
Are we good?
Yeah. The important thing is that this just starts the process, this isn't bind the process, doesn't lock anything in, right? It's just what we have to do to get things kind of underway. There will be a moment in time that we will be very clear with the board, with the city about this is it. This is the actual term. This is the actual incurring of financing. We should have a good indication about, the projects and those things at that point. But when that day comes, that when we sign it and it becomes real, we'll make sure everybody understands and knows that, right? But I think we're a good ways away from that right now. Yeah.
Any other board members have any questions? Can we entertain the motion then? Anyone in the public have any comments or questions? Can we get a motion in for item 12 to approve the letter of intent for bond?
Motion to approve.
Have a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Authorize the resolutions, or is that later?
So there are 2 different resolutions you can take, they can be taken up as one item.
Correct.
So unless you want to do another, but this is for both resolutions with the motion.
You just approved them.
Is that, okay, all right.
Thank you. Item 13, approval to accept the insurance quote from Curb and VFIS through Cook Insurance Center, Inc.
I guess that's who the city used for years, is that right? Miller, I'll make a motion to accept that quote from Chubb, I guess, VFIS through Cook Insurance Center.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Item 14, approval to award the RFQ to Pickering Engineers and Architects Design Professional as the engineer for the Green Tea Sewer Project. Joe Frank, I guess that's you.
Let me say something about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Page your mouse and click.
Okay. We did advertise for the RFQ for the Green Tea Sewer Project, and hoping that we would get some ARPA money for that. And the requirement was to solicit an engineering firm or architect firm to do the required engineering on that. And we met and received some quotes, received some RFQs, information from engineers that wanted to do that project. And we scored the application that was presented to us, and Pickering Engineering had the highest score when we did the scoring for the engineering companies.
Anyone, board, anybody have any questions from Mr. Lauderdale? There'll be no question, the board will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a proper motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. You might well stay there, Joe. You up next too, man. Item 15, approval to advertise. We just, okay, yeah.
So we got to do about the same thing if we're going to do more ARPA projects. If we get more money or move more money around, we're going to have to do the same thing again on other projects. So this is just to advertise for any projects that we might have coming up under the ARPA money requirements.
And already having that pre-approval save us at least 2 weeks instead of have to wait till a board meeting to come back, so we already have all the approval, so. Anybody have any question, public have any question on this item? We got a motion in for item 15.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved, passed. Approved to advertise for bids for the contractor service for the renovation of the old concession building at Kirkendall Fitness Park to turn into a restaurant. I guess you Jared, that's you, I guess.
Everybody. So the old concession building, which is near the top parking lot at the Kirkendall Fitness Park, old football field and track, we have used AERC to come up with some drawings to convert that concession building into a restroom facility. Looking to advertise for bids for that. If you have any questions about it. It's a pretty simple structure. It's one men's, one women's restroom, a little bit of storage, but.
You mind if we pass them down real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't get a copy.
The restrooms that are there will remain, this will be a second facility, right?
Yes, we're not going to tear down the restrooms that are there. We'll probably lock them up and close them off, but for
So
large.
they won't be usable, the old ones that are there now?
Correct, yes, sir. This location's next to the
entrance.
parking lot entrance. It'll be ADA accessible. But we'll keep the other ones. We'll just lock them down, probably paint it to match what that paint's going to be, and spiff it up on the inside and out. But we'll use it when needed.
This one's
that's the
just
plan
more
right now.
visible to the street. This one's a little more visible to the street. The other one's kind of hidden, so there's a lot of vandalism. So this one's right on the street in front of those houses. So hopefully we won't have problems with this one, but this is the old concession stand from the track, the old football field.
Yeah, and that concession building is just, it is falling apart, but the footprint and the block is still good. So I think it's a good use of what's there rather than just tearing it down.
Anyone else have any questions?
How much did we put in the budget for this project?
100,000.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? We entertain a motion.
Motion approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, just say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Jerry, we got this you or Joe for the, advertise for the Irish crew for the soccer field lighting. That's you or Joe.
I don't have the memo in front of me here, but we have reached out to a company called Path Company that has provided some figures that we have used in kind of coming up with a plan for lighting the soccer field behind the concession stand and parking lot lighting on the asphalt, what has been recently paved 2 falls ago. So asking for approval to move forward with an RFQ on that project.
Anyone have any questions, comments?
I'll make a motion to approve, to advertise for RFQ for soccer field lighting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 18, discuss of allowing an adjustment to water bill to relieve the accrual fees when filling a swimming pool.
This has been discussed.
All right, so it's been a discussion to forgive the sewer fees for filling a swimming pool. I'll kind of lay it all out, let you guys make a decision however you want to do it. So average size pool's around 40,000 gallons. With the DeCrua fee and our sewer fee that we charge, it's going to be $220, basically. If we decide to do that once a year, it'll be $220 a year. I would like to point out, though, that it is the city's requirement for anyone building a swimming pool. And how long do you think in the past 4 or 5 years, maybe, something like that, for them to be tied into sewer? Yeah. So it's a requirement of the city that they do tie the backwash and the drains of the pools into the sewer. So that water that doesn't evaporate, which most of it will, in the summertime when it gets hot, a lot of evaporation will come, a lot of rain will come, it'll be pumped out. That will be going in the sewer. But, other municipalities have done it, and I can answer just about any question you guys have on it.
What kind of budget impact is this going to have? Is there any way to even
I don't
estimate
know.
that?
I don't know how to trend that because
You figure $200.
nobody's going to drain their pool unless they get a new liner 99% of the time, and it would just be impacting that and then in new pools. And
So-
not all pools are 40,000 gallons, but that's just an average size.
When it flows through, the city pays a DeCrua fee, right, regardless of, so,
If the city doesn't pay the DeCrua fee as the water is used. They pay for it as it goes out of the swimming pool and to DeCrua. They just pay it on the back end. So the city will not be incurring those costs on the front end.
in the actual filling of it.
That's right.
Okay.
DeCrua has their own meters, which meters our flow from the city and even surrounding cities. The intake of water and our bills based on that each month. So we won't see it on the front end. We won't see it at all.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Are you seeing more of the saltwater pools or more of the chlorine?
Salt water.
More of the saltwater?
Yes, sir.
Is-
That's the thing to do right now. All the older pools will have the chlorine, but, or the majority of them. Used to be a pretty big expense to go salt versus chlorine, and now it's gotten a little cheaper. So, like I said, you're gonna have evaporation in the hot summer months that's not gonna be charged to crew, because it's gonna go in the air. But in the wintertime, you'll have rain where you're, backwashing your pool and draining it or sumping it out or whatever, and it's potentially going into the sewer if they don't use some sort of submersible pump.
We've had people make comments about this over the years, many
ma'am.
people that.
I get a lot of
feels-
questions about it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that it's that much money in the long run, but it gives somebody a break. I mean,
It's also a luxury item too, it's not like this is a necessary item
Correct.
to have in your home. So, I mean, I'm glad to know that it doesn't cost anything on the front end, but, I mean,
You said the front end, what about the back end? You keep on saying front end, but we pay on if we pay on the back end, when we relieve the fees, I mean, just giving away.
You'll still be charged for it, yes, sir. It'll just be on the back end.
Yeah, but
Doesn't matter
what I'm
front or
saying,
back. Yeah,
what I'm saying, the homeowner would not be charged,
that's correct, yes, sir.
but the city would be charged on the back end.
Yes, sir.
So why would we, that's right,
Okay, yeah, that
So why
makes-
would we give up for you to have luxury, give you a waiver, and when none of the other citizens, because they don't have the luxury item, they don't get no waiver on the crew fees, but we finna waiver others. I mean, that's kind of contradictory to me. I mean, it's,
I think it's a very small amount compared to the cost of installing a pool, but it could add up to a lot if we forgive a bunch of these, through the year.
Sure. It's totally up to you guys.
what do other cities say about that on the DeCroo side?
Horn Lake caps their sewer at about 15 cubic feet. They charge in cubic feet versus per 1,000 gallons. So it's around $56 they cap theirs at. That's with a pool, without a pool. That's what they cap theirs at. Olive Branch did away with it. They don't do it anymore. And South Haven does
wait a
a,
minute.
They did away with
They did
waiving
away
it?
with the waiver, right?
yes, sir.
Okay, they did away with the waiver.
And then
Okay.
South Haven does it once a year. I don't think there's a cap. What they do is they call the city, say, hey, I need a credit for filling my pool. They take a 6-month average of their bill, and then versus their highest bill, and they credit it that. That way they thought it was fair.
Mr. Lauderdale just kind of brought up an issue. Do we have an ordinance that we have in place in the city of Hernando that we are not able to give away city utilities?
Yeah.
And those are conditions of bonds that we have. So that's be something that we might want to think about. South Haven may not have similar ordinance like that.
I asked for something in writing, they
Yeah.
could not provide it, so I don't know.
South Haven?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Mr. Lauderdale's been around here a lot longer than I have, so he may know. I think it does ring a bell that we do have an ordinance that precludes us from doing that.
Really?
Unless it's, a specific request, like the utility adjustments. I mean,
Right,
Those
right.
are reasons for that.
Right.
So just something to think about.
I mean, you could change the ordinance, but I know we have an ordinance that we have to charge people for utilities. We can't give away water and sewer.
Well, then we'll have to probably table this until we look into that.
Okay. Me and Pam can probably look into that and see what the ordinance is stating.
I agree with what you're saying about the table part, but why table something that if we don't think it even worthy to be considered? But we can table it, I mean, that's.
Well, the only reason why I say we could table it is because it has come up so many times. You get tons of calls about it. I've
We do.
had quite a few myself. Just to be sure that we're not doing it but not because we don't want to. It's because we legally cannot do it. That's the way I would rather we be a little more thorough
Sure.
in passing or not passing it by what our ordinances back this up.
I can agree to table it, but also why we agree that, I remember this same board, you know, not necessarily the same board, but, this board and other board that we talk about, we won't forgive a toilet bowl leak, but you want to forgive, I mean, I ain't saying you will do, but then we finna take and say, we'll forgive, though, a fee that you actually incurred for a pool. I mean, it's just kind of contradictory a little bit to me, I mean.
Yeah, I mean.
No toilet bowl,
I just think
but yet in a
people,
pool. I mean, these are to consider. I mean, it's something to think about.
Pools are expensive. I
We-
mean,
we
you know,
might-
it's like another couple $100 when you've spent 50,000.
I mean, you know, we might have people calling and asking for pools now, but if we do that, then we may have people calling and saying, well, I don't have a pool, so what do I get? You know, do I get
That's true, too.
free trash for a month, or, I mean, you know, I don't know.
I don't think we have to take any action tonight. I think we can
No,
just
I
continue
agree
to-
with Alderman Beth about tabling. I was just bringing out my concerns about it as you consider and think about it, that's all.
If you guys,
Motion in a second.
if you guys think of
You
any.
make a
Table
motion.
it, make a motion.
You can make a motion table, yeah. make a motion.
I'll make a motion that we table allowing an adjustment to water bills to relieve the decree fee when filling a swimming pool, just until we can find out about our ordinance on the sewer utility side, just to be sure that we are in accordance with our guidelines and laws.
Second. We have a motion and a second to table this item. When you want to table it to, how long, Alderman Ross?
Do we have enough time for next meeting, or,
I would think so.
okay.
Yeah.
What is that, the 17th?
Yes, ma'am.
October 17th?
If you have any questions in the meantime, feel
We
free
have
to
a
reach
motion and a
out.
second to table this item to our next regular board meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Item 19, I guess this you, Austin. Discussion making Hall Road a no-truck zone. Who is that?
That's me. This is one I brought up. Yeah,
If you have any questions, I can answer them probably.
there's essentially a gas station right there at Nesbitt Road and Hall Road that trucks have used as kind of like a turnaround spot on the Hall Road. It's chewed up the road pretty bad there. I think we've repaired it 3 or 4 times since we've taken office. We've looked at concreting it, and the price is fairly high there, so we want to try to discourage larger trucks from pulling out onto that street with a no truck zone sign, and see if we can't keep that road from getting chewed up, because I'd say, wouldn't you say about every 6 or 8 months we're going out
Yes, sir.
there and having to
At
fix
least.
it?
Yes, sir. And it's getting to be, it's not the truck's fault. I mean, they're loaded, they gotta
Yeah.
get diesel. It's just a nature of it. But when they're coming out, they're loaded, they're heavy, they're turning sharp. And, we're gonna have to go probably, 12 to 14 inches deep with asphalt this time to try to, counteract that. But I do worry that there won't be enough turnaround spot in the parking lot for them to go out another exit. That's the only thing I worry about.
That's what I was going to ask. Where else are they going to go?
I mean, I had my CDL. I figured out ways to get around parking lots when I had no truck zone. When I drove a truck, if it was a no truck zone road, they're not making a delivery to that gas station. They're not permitted to use no truck zones streets. So, I was able to parallel park a 53-foot trailer, so should be able to get out of a parking space. Should be able to get out a lot.
That would be the only concern I have. Other than
I'm
that, I
impressed,
think
Ben.
it would be fine.
I'm totally impressed.
I ain't bragging. It ain't bragging.
Oh, we learned something new
It
here.
ain't bragging if you did it. It ain't bragging if you did it.
Alderman Piper, is that
I'm just
something?
trying to picture you driving a big old truck. This is what I'm trying to picture.
We could just hire you to be out there to help.
I know it. You direct traffic.
They can, I'll do it for a
Alderman
fee.
Piper,
Yes, sir.
could I ask you something that's just,
In a minute.
is that something that we probably could have our, since it involves safety and road condition and everything else, do you think that's something that our police department can look at from the safety standpoint, along with our engineer, and bring back a recommendation whether it's feasible or not to make that a no truck zone? So we have something to justify whatever this board do.
That's fine with me. I think it's
I'm
just,
asking you,
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think what's not gonna change is that the sharpness of the turn out of there causes the trailer wheels to go in opposite directions, and it literally chews the road up over time. So, I mean, that's literally not going to change, but, other than concreting it, I don't know any other way we could get it to fix permanently, but we can certainly have public safety to take a look and see if there's something we haven't considered.
Maybe expansion or something like that, not the whole area, but just the expansion of the drive in some, shape or form, to, not to do everything in concrete, but just let the engineer and our public works along with the police department come back and see that maybe additional 3 foot with straight, concrete, we don't.
Sure.
We had the same problem up there on Old Highway 51 when we were putting asphalt up there, and we finally found a remedy there. So it is a problem anytime we're dealing with trucks and asphalt.
Need a motion to coordinate with public safety and engineering to find the best recommendation for the Hall Road truck zone requirement.
Second.
It's been properly motion and second. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion, all opposed? Motion approved. Thank you, Alderman Piper.
Yes, sir.
This HR here, I guess, discussion and adoption of the employee handbook.
So the handbook that I sent out through email is what Todd Butler has been working on for quite a while now. Does anybody have any questions or comments? I know Natalie had some. I think we got hers answered today. Does anybody else have any questions?
There were some forms in the back, but one of them was missing.
Yes.
That one was missing, so.
It is, but we'll get that added before it actually goes to employees.
Yeah, because that was my only question, was that one form that we've had issues with in the past, with the verbiage, the specific verbiage on that.
And we actually use that form now. All of our departments use that form, and Todd drafted that form
Okay.
for us. So we'll get that inserted.
Yeah, that was
And
the
I'll
only
make
thing
sure
that was
there's no
missing that I had a
changes.
question about, just to be sure, because to be sure we have all of the verbiage correct, so we don't run into what we've run into in the past.
Definitely.
I'll make a motion to approve. There's no discussion. Go ahead.
And I guess this would be to our city attorney along with our HR person. And I'm trying to find the exact verbiage in here.
And Todd is
Well,
available by phone also if we need him.
Now, this is pretty simple. I think it's simple. But, this handbook.
I don't have a copy of it.
Okay, well, anyway, it's not gonna be the content of the handbook. But the language in here states that all we require, when I say we as a city, it required, is that give this handbook to an employee and tell them to sign it, and then abide by everything in there. No, training on the handbook, no review of the handbook or anything like that, just, all right, you hired today, sign and receive this handbook, and go by everything in there. When we as a board still go through the handbook and have questions and everything else, we need information, but yet still we're gonna tell the employee, it's all you gotta do. You take it now, and you violate anything in here, that's it. I mean, and I know we can do that, but is it, words I want to use. It's not ethical, I ain't gonna, that's not
Feel
the
like they're
right
being
word.
taken advantage of in some way?
Yeah, I don't know the right word to use, but I think that, because all these, in my opinion, especially things that we having problem with, the department heads or something need to review these annually or something with their employees, because I think that'll make a better employee and we have less disciplinary action. I mean, that's just me, and I know it's kind of a long way out there, but I
I do
really have a problem
plan
with it.
to meet, set a time with the department heads, and I've already talked to Jared about this, and meet with the departments and go over the handbook if they have any questions.
But that ain't what's said in the handbook. I'm saying you're gonna do that, but the next HR person might not do that because they ain't required to do it. That's my point.
I mean, I think most employers, I mean, there could be an orientation, obviously.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, they give
What-
a copy
That's,
to the.
that's the word I want to use.
They give a copy,
Orientation. You
they give a
did-
copy to the person who's being hired and say, make
You're
sure you
a
read it.
good,
if you have
you're
any
a good lawyer.
questions.
That's the word I was looking for.
Sign
Doing
this
the
and say you
orientation
understand
process,
it.
at least kind of,
Well, by signing off on it, you are saying that you agree with the handbook, because that's my employer. They hand it to me, and it's my responsibility to read it, and if I don't understand something, go to HR with questions. But if I sign off on it, that means I fully understand it, and if I violate any of those and my employment is ended because of that, that's on me. But that's the way the real corporate world works. So just in general, and none of my handbooks say the guidelines of how each department head handles that. But yes, it should be, I think, just a normal procedure when you hand a new handbook out to someone to review it, sign off on it once you've reviewed it, give them a time frame on when to get those signed and back in, and have questions in the meantime if they do not understand some of the guidelines. I know fire and police, I know y'all have your own guidelines that were stronger and more strict than the handbook anyway. So, and y'all hold y'all's employees accountable for understanding those and going by those. So I don't think it has to actually say it. I mean, it's just, yeah, and, you know, it's, should be just part policy for each department head to fulfill those obligations to the employees. But it's the employee's obligation to themselves to read it and understand it. Because if they sign off on it, it's on them.
Alderman Miller, would you be more comfortable if there was an amendment that laid out a process for the handbook to be?
I'm just like, I just have a concern about that, and, you know.
I understand.
The book itself, I have no problem with the contents, as I said earlier, the contents are great, you know, because we've been working on this for several years, you know.
Right.
So, because we can adopt this as is and then, bring back, you know, something to it later on. I just want the board to think about those things. So
And we
what-
can always do an amendment to
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
add
So
that.
it wouldn't have to necessarily be done tonight, but we could approve it tonight as, you know, as it is before us, because this is definitely needed, you know. I think, you know, it's definitely needed. And the contents is great.
There's a lot of, there's just a lot of updates from, kind of brings it more into a modern
Yeah,
perspective,
I mean,
think.
it's good. The content is great. I mean, you know.
I mean, just conduct and social media policy, things like that, that weren't always a part of employee handbooks. So we have to move with the times. I thought it read fine.
Anyone have any discussion, any more comments about our handbook, employee handbook? Anyone have any question, discussion, either board or the audience, then we'll entertain a motion.
I move to adopt the employee handbook as presented.
Second.
It's been properly motion and second that we adopt the employee handbook as written. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The motion passed. Utility adjustment.
Alderman Miller, I make a motion to approve the utility docket as presented to us.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passed.
Miller, I'll make a motion to go into closed session for the discussion of potential litigation.
We have a motion to go in closed session, to termination to go into executive session regarding prospective litigation. Motion, got a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The board now is in closed session for determination to go into executive session regarding prospective litigation.